All right, Hovhannes, thank you for being in connection with us. It's great to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you for connecting with me.
Yeah. So, this time we did have a subject that we had on both of our hearts and minds, and that is I guess, the hearts and minds of Sam Altman and Elon Musk.
Yeah, yeah, we've I've gone back and forth on opinions about them. Not so much Elon. I've tried to like Sam a lot. But yeah, that's a topic. I don't know how you want to start that, but yeah, I have no rational dislike of Sam. Whenever I've tried, and you've probably I think you mentioned like you had the same. I want to hear like from you as well. When I try to explain it rationally and like have evidence for it, I probably will sound very stupid. It's just a gut feeling, So I don't know. Yeah, and I've tried to like him. I still don't. But you know, I'm open to changing my
Cool.
mind.
Awesome. Did you want to share something?
Yeah, well, I feel that this is a subject you both are well researched on or better researched on. But nevertheless, I watched the Tucker Carlson interview with Sam Altman, not completely through, but yeah, I have some gut feelings too.
Hmm. Okay. So I would love to actually start with hearing out your gut feelings, and then from there, I can put words to some things that I've spent a lot of time with.
Nice.
Yeah, I could go. So in terms of gut feelings, there's this like one prevalent thing that like the Sam is the Antichrist and he's super evil. Like I don't take it that far. I don't have like a super negative feeling about him. It's more of a not having a vision. I thought about this for a while. Like, what is the difference between what Elon is doing, and they're doing very similar things between Sam and Elon. Why do I feel like I trust Elon more? And that was kind of like one criteria I went through. And from what I've seen Sam talk about, he doesn't necessarily have a vision that either aligns with me or is very clear in my mind. When he speaks about the future, and he's one of the leaders of crafting the future. So like he to me, he better have like the most crystal clear vision, even if like he doesn't know where it's going. Like they're still, if you're in that power, if you're in that seat, like you better have some like moral, like I don't know, either guidelines or expectations of what reality should be, and communicate that. And to me, he never communicates that. With Elon, it's like I want to do this, this, and this, and this, and it's a very open book. And he has a history. Elon has a history of doing what he's talked about exactly, and like reaching the vision there. When Sam talks about the future, it's very here or there. And it's very clear in a lot of his interviews that like I don't know where the future is going to go. It might go somewhere here. It might go somewhere there. But he doesn't say, that might be true. Like we don't really know where the future is going to be in AI for sure. But he never says like I would love for it to be exactly this, and this is exactly what I'm striving towards. And that I think, because that is missing from him, I just have like a weird feeling about it, that like this guy's in charge of something that he maybe doesn't have a clear vision of where it's gonna go. So
That's
it's
a
not
great
like
one.
malintent, but like it's
Yeah.
like no intent almost. And he's a very great product guy. Like I have nothing bad to say about the way he can, as a businessman, with his like involvement in Y Combinator, and like the amount of like startups he's created, like he knows how to create products, obviously, and he's made the most popular product AI wise. So like there's nothing negative on that side. And just overall, like I don't feel like he's evil, but he just doesn't have a clear vision, which might be inviting evil. I don't know. Like that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's a great one. I hadn't put my finger on that part of it specifically. I wonder how you feel about, does he have the no vision, or does he perhaps have a vision that he thinks is strategically wise to not communicate clearly?
I think he has like a very business like vision in terms of where to take OpenAI as a company. Like he's doing the deals like he did recently with Nvidia. Like he has a plan for the company to grow. Like to me, and like for the tech to advance. Like that vision, I think he has. Like if he didn't have that, or whoever is also making the decisions at the company, board member or otherwise, like it wouldn't grow at the speed that it has. I think in terms of like product vision, he has a clear vision, and it's like it's getting there. And like the products, in terms of like the actual product of ChatGPT and all the rest in that family, all the enterprise level stuff, all the codex things that he's come out, like they're objectively better than what Elon has put out in terms of Grok doing things. Like it may be the actual like underlying LLM could be debatable of like what's better or not, what's faster. But in terms of like giving a product to a mass user base, like Sam has probably a better vision of that, and maybe he's maybe focused on that. The vision I'm talking about is more of like what impact it has on humanity, and what role is he going to play. That he hasn't clearly communicated.
Yeah, I guess not consistently. I have if you go on his personal blog all the way to the first entry, have you done that?
I have not.
No.
No. I
Yeah.
just read his recent one that yeah, I reposted it on X.
Oh,
The one he just made.
I haven't read the recent one,
Yeah.
but the first one is actually about the relationship between technology and economy and general like human prosperity and history. And he was pointing out how historically the only time prosperity increases everywhere is when there is a technological progression. And he was laying out what looked like his very personal thesis for how to improve well-being for everyone. And this is long before his involvement with OpenAI. I'm not sure if he was even doing the things he was doing with Y Combinator. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, if like that long time ago, this person had this in their mind in this detail, chances are that's quite like a foundational understanding of the world. And also it speaks to a person's intent. So, and it lines up perfectly with his track record of like wanting to create technologies that would increase prosperity for everyone. And also then when you look at his project with WorldCoin and his intentions there with like verifying humans, creating universal basic compute or something to that extent, it lines up very consistently. So there's maybe a vision there, a very clear vision actually for a like a humanity that's prospering. I suspect it might be wise to not necessarily talk about some aspects of that explicitly. I think if you connect the dots yourself, you can kind of see where it might be going in terms of the degree of power that his organization and perhaps even him as an individual will have to have.
Yeah.
Because if your technology is used to that extent to facilitate prosperity for everyone, it
You
does.
kind of have a monopoly on resource, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, resources as well, which with every monopoly comes the ability to direct policies as well, which is um, a, a level of power that is you're kind of like the father of the household of humanity. So it's like how good of a how wise of a and grounded of a father do we have? That's like a I think a fair parallel. Um, yeah, gut feeling.
Well, I was thinking of what like in like colleagues and friends of mine are now saying about Elon.
Mhm.
That he has like all the money of the world, and what is he like? And like should a man have that much power? So that's an interesting.
Yeah. Bernie Sanders posted something very similar to that, and like,
Yes. Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you don't understand like value creation, then like it's easy to judge someone who has created a lot of wealth. I think like Jeff Bezos has talked about that a lot. It was like some random interview. Somebody was asking about like about his wealth or whatnot, and then he's like, "All right, but can you just like put also a list of people who created the most wealth for humanity? Like I'm probably also in the top five, you
Yeah.
know."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a more humbling list to put out there, and probably wouldn't sell as well. At least not to the same market.
Yeah, but in terms of like, yeah, connecting that, like the amount of wealth creation, like I can see that. Like net good is what Sam is put out. Is it good? Yeah, I think so. Like in terms of providing a resource to, as many people as possible. I think he looks at it in that way, and I can see that. Like if he's, I'll go back and read his blogs, but like, yeah, that's like a very that graph you're talking about is, and it's all also commonly, put in parallel with capitalism. It's like, all right, that's literally the cause of just increasing people's standard of living over time is technology, and what creates more technology is usually capitalism. Uh, yeah, like if you look at it just that way, very pure, just economically, then yeah, that would make sense. It's like, but the unknowns I have is, I guess yeah, I just put it out of the world. That's the thing. Like I don't know if maybe he needs a vision, or is it just that maybe he just the vision is to create as much resource as possible for humanity. But yeah, I guess that I haven't thought about that, and I think that that makes sense. Like if you look at it purely that way and not personally to Sam, and I still haven't gotten to the bottom of why I don't like him.
Yeah, we'll
Like,
circle to that. I want to cover some grounds first. Yeah, we'll circle to it
yeah,
for sure. In
yeah,
terms of gut feelings, though, so that was how your colleagues, who are very much inundated and educated thoroughly by their mainstream media of Netherlands, that's what they are taught to think and therefore think. Because I have like interacted with some of their thought patterns, and there has been zero independent research or curiosity on their part. It's actually, in a sense, like it's questionable if there's any neurons at play doing anything other than repetition of input, output, sentience in between.
Right.
Questionable.
Well, thanks
yeah,
for just.
Yeah, at least in this subject. In other subjects, that's their expertise. Very different story. Do you hear our coffee maker right now?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it turns
Yeah.
off.
I
So,
stopped. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah,
um,
the American culture, like with Instagram, is similar to that too. It's like just the input output machine.
yeah,
Yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
just repost whatever, and no fact checking, no individual thing, and then you move on to the next
Yeah.
controversy.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of your own personal gut feels about Sam and or Elon, we'll
well,
circle to Elon as
later,
well,
yeah,
but
but
feel free to include.
yeah, because I'm not sure. Like we have had conversations because we were both watching the Tucker Carlson interview,
Yeah.
and then we shared our um first thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I said something about something feels off with Sam. Remember?
Yeah,
And I don't know if you said the word composed,
I did. Yes.
and that was exactly the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
That he's like dealing with on this level with all these things.
Yeah.
And yeah, the responsibility. Like I love the wording of like the father of like the earth.
The household of humanity.
It's crazy where he will be if this evolves in a way that we.
Yeah, and already is actually
Right.
like you have I don't know the number of users, but I do know that people who are very young use it for like going over mental health related stuff, how to navigate relationships.
Yeah.
Like these are roles that normally it would be like either you go to like your older brother or like your father or like your spiritual counselor, whatever, to like go over these types of questions of like, hey, what do I do? People go to now ChatGPT and similar AIs.
Yeah.
Business decisions, legal decisions, medical decisions. And then I also have heard some politicians have come out openly saying, yeah, we go over policy decisions with ChatGPT. And I'm sure there's a lot more who wouldn't feel comfortable being open
Sharing
about
it,
it and are doing it.
Yeah.
And we're so early in the game. So
this will be
And
bigger.
I've seen it in businesses too, where like a certain population of the people in a business, they would actually like their communication is just filtered with they're the ChatGPT. It's like just ChatGPT talking to ChatGPT. It's like
Yeah.
they give updates that are very heavily influenced, and yeah, on both directions. Um, but yeah, go ahead, guys. Like I don't have much else
Yeah,
to.
well, that composed feeling,
Yeah.
like that is not a word you would give to Elon and how he presents himself. So, and the contrast is very strong.
Yeah.
And for me, there, Elon is more human and therefore more trustworthy.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're good.
Yeah, it is worthwhile to note. I don't know if like Sam probably thought about this. He must have. But like it's like from his point of view, it's like going into like the lion's den, and like he knows like Tucker's biases and like how he might judge him, and he knows that he's also like Tucker's like more sympathetic to Elon and slash Trump, from the history of like interviewing them as well, and like I had the same feelings of like for anyone who is like that composed and not like free, like there's got to be something that they're hiding, and that hiding might not be a bad thing. Maybe he has more, like Sam has more of like a PR and slash like company thing to protect, because it's such a massively like, and he cares about that. Like, if he tarnishes, he says something wrong, and like there's probably like lawyers and stuff in the background too of like him not revealing something, and to that effect, like yeah, I don't like people that way anyway. Like I rather them speak freely, because there's a lot of people that what's that guy that Palmer Lucky, the guy who is head of Anduril, like he must have a lot of like trade secrets too, and like he works with the government. He like creates like weapons of war, meaning like I'm trying to equate like what Sam knows in the background versus him. It's like, yeah, they have sensitive information, but they still speak freely, and like they're not like afraid to spill something. And so like that composure usually means that they're very careful with their words, and that might be too. But to balance that out a little bit is like, yeah, Tucker was on the offensive. Like if you look
Yes.
at Tucker's interview with Sam versus like freaking Putin or the president of Iran, like he was much friendlier with those two leaders than
Yes.
Sam. Like the questions he asked were like, he didn't ask about did you kill anybody to Putin or the president of Iran, but like he asked pretty clearly to Sam. So like that wasn't totally a fair interview. But
Did
he
you
knows how
order
to
the
push
hit?
buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been accused of murder. That was great.
Yeah, I'm sure like Putin has actually made thousands of hits versus Sam is questionable.
Yeah. Yeah. For I think Tucker's personal survival, it was probably a good career move to not.
Probably, yeah.
Uh,
But he was at home. Okay, with Putin, I would give him that because he was in Russia, and like exit strategy would be wise to not anger him. But he was at home and doing a remote interview with, I forget the name of the
right.
Iranian president.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Yeah.
like
For
that
sure.
was such an easy one. Like you should
For
totally
sure.
be.
But that being said, though, there is a fair degree of consistency in how composed Sam is, independent of who is interviewing and what the context is.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At the very
it might
least,
be
in
a
all of the
different flavor of autism. I don't know what it is, but like if you like, I've listened to him just speak on the Y Combinator scene of like how to create a product, this and that. Like he's done a lot of talks, and it's very similar. Like the way he speaks, it's always like as little information as possible. Like it's almost like succinct, like too succinct. But yeah, and that might contribute to what
yeah,
we're feeling.
yeah,
Yeah, and then that could be a personal trait, and we're like seeing things in a personality
sure.
that like that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah. All right. So I would love to get into my
Yeah, I'm
my
curious.
Sure, that's
it's,
okay.
it's
That's
a
good.
very thorough layered assessment that both breaks down like how things are, and also what would be required for functional improvement. So and this is like for both Sam and Elon, and obviously for both of them, massive respects. These are like people I admire very, very
Yeah.
greatly. So Uh, yeah, composed, I think, is the primary thing to look at, both in terms of why so much works with Sam, and also why sometimes some things feel off. So the human experience is, if you were to think of like a graph, it's kind of like a heartbeat where there are these highs and lows in like someone's emotional state, and then the thoughts that we have reflect the emotions we feel, at least in their prepackaged state, in their raw state. With Elon, you see that very clearly. You know exactly where he is on that graph,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
because there is no filter on that, and there is no like
There's no
packaging.
modulation either. There's no like,
Exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. So you get the whole thing, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. So and you can disagree with it, and you can be like, wow, that is so not productive, to have done that in that way. But you're like, yeah, that is what's going on in there. There is no in there and out there for Elon. It's just that. It's one thing, and there is zero feeling of the wolf in sheep's clothing potential, because you see it. It's like, oh, that's a fucking wolf. Like that part of Elon is not, you don't want that around. That's going to hurt you. Like, but it's like, at least you know, so there is a consistency that is the basis of the gut level of trust. Like for us, there have been studies on this. Vanessa Van Edwards, who wrote the book Captivate, she talked about how this was a study done on police officers, and the number of sick days that they had compared to the number of friends they reported they have at the station, the number of enemies they have, and then the number of frenemies they have. People who they're not sure if it's a friend who has their back or someone who will actively go out of their way to sabotage them. And they found that the strongest correlation was actually people who had it wasn't the number of friends you had, the number of enemies you had, but the number of frenemies. It was the most taxing thing on their immune system. So if you have people you're not sure about if they wanna love you or if they wanna hurt you, that is the most taxing thing, because your system is perpetually being like, I don't know what that is. I can't be clear. So yeah, with Elon, you know when he's a friend, you know when he's an enemy. There is no there's no in between there. It's clear. Um, with Sam now, okay. So that now the downside of the absence of composure that Elon experiences all the time, everywhere. It is scary for most people at most times to see something that unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way that you can understand Elon is to dive into the details thoroughly. And then the reality and the communication will make sense. But if you don't, and you just see something, from the outskirts, you're like, what is that behavior? That is so strange. That is scary. And then, you get the both public and also a lot of the personal like friction that he creates as he goes through life. Is that
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, I've definitely earlier on in my like work career, I've been not like, obviously I'm not at the level of like Elon in terms of autism and also ability, but in terms of like just like plowing through things, in terms of like, all right, I'm not gonna have composure. I'm just gonna feel exactly what I feel, and not at the workplace, like literally, with my coworkers. And like overall, it's benefited me because I get to also see who people are. Like the more aggressive you are, where it's like, okay, as long as I know like it's coming from a good place and I see some sort of thing that I need to accomplish, I'm just gonna drive towards it like as quick as possible. I'll make the mistakes too, but there'll be more action, and then like there'll be more of like a highs and lows. And it does piss a lot of people off because they're not expecting it. Like they're expecting kind of to go to the workplace and have their own silos and like do their own thing. And especially like with the bosses or like the managers that you have that kind of like they dream about the work like after work. There's people who like dream and then they make decisions and then the next morning they come in like full on power. Like that's what I would imagine Elon does. He thinks about the future all the time, and he's now just like making moves, and they're pre-calculated. And that, like, I haven't, I can only assume, but like if you work at a place that has an Elon type of figure as the manager, it's very unpredictable. Yeah, every day could be a shift, but he's always seeing it from like a 50,000 foot view, and he has his vision, and he just needs to get to that as fast as possible. And I've seen, like, in just my own personal life, like little bits of that at a smaller scale. And then you get to a point where, like, you're more composed, you become a little bit more corporate, and you care about, like, you're more careful about your words, maybe, and priorities change, but like they're not good or bad. They're just like two ways of, I guess, working and living. And that might be the extremes that where the Sam and Elon are. And maybe, like, I don't know, Sam has finessed his way to the position he's at. He's had a lot of like drama with Microsoft of getting fired, hired. Like, that was awkward. But like yeah, because of his composure, he probably makes fewer mistakes that he could have avoided. Where Elon just goes through it and doesn't really care about the consequences. And to me, I respect that more, because maybe because I've personally done that, and like, paid the price, but it's like, all right, it's for the greater good, so you get there anyway. It's a little messy, but that also, like, that like blood pumping and like the boiling type, I kind of like it sometimes, because like if you don't, it's like, to be more specific, it's like if you just leave something and you don't address it at a workplace, like, and you stay in your lane, you don't learn as much, and you don't learn as much about the person. You don't get as much things done. And maybe that's just like my personal prejudice of like how Elon thinks. It just like aligns with how I.
Yeah, for sure. So, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, because I think that with that mindset, you also are able to make deeper connections with other humans. Like, from my personal work, like I'm a teacher and I need to perform every day, and you need to like feel good and do the thing. But it was so liberating to also go do that when I did not feel like it at all, and then include that in my performance. Just share, or not even word it, but just like be closer to the feeling I felt, and not play a role in front of my classroom, but just be the human I am, with the pain I was feeling at that moment, or the tiredness or the sadness. And it only led to deeper connections with my class or with my students. And not even by wording, hey, I'm feeling off, but only by being real. So that's the thing I like, because it is beautiful to have like deeper connections with people.
Yeah, it's like taking that risk. It's like it pays off immediately for me. It's like if I see a boundary and I'm like, let's not touch it, like for another day or something. It's like it goes into my subconscious, and then I pay for it eventually. But if I take that risk and just like budge a little bit, and like that usually like makes better friends, because then it's like, all right, this is what I think about you, and here's what you think about me, and like let's figure it out, and it meshes together. And that, like, that breaks down barriers, and I get to feel closer to that person, and then I feel great because I didn't hold back or like bite my tongue, and that's the way I like to live. But I've seen so many examples of people who don't do that, and they do on paper succeed and move forward and climb the corporate ladder or whatnot. But yeah, I've gotten into trouble a lot of like in front of people talking back as well. And like, but overall, like, it's always paid. It's always been positive because it comes back to me. Like, whether that be, as long as I have a connection to God, and God's like, all right, you're doing the right thing. It's like, it's okay if I piss off the wrong people. Like, it works out. But yeah, and that's the way like Elon does work, where he just drives things forward. And it seems to me that he has like fate on his side. I don't know. I have this feeling that, like, yeah, whether it be destiny or fate, like it just feels like he's on the right side of history. And the way he behaves, to me, I like it more.
Yeah, for sure. So, on the plus sides of composure, the when you do sort of like if you have that graph, um, but we can't ever change that being our internal real reality. But what we can do is kind of, I think you use the word modulate, which I think is a perfect word for it. It's kind of like cut off the functional access or exposure to the highest peaks and the lowest valleys of that graph. So then what comes out is the middle point. Now, what I know personally through like the my own explorations and the work I do is that sometimes it's not just what people show, but it's also what they themselves see and feel. That like you can modulate things to the point where you're actually no longer aware of the highest peaks yourself or the lowest valleys either. So like the thing that you experience consciously is like prepackaged for you by your subconscious. So you have like an internal PR, like you've gotten so good at it that it's become automated and unconscious competence at taking out the highest and the lowest, creating this appearance of stability, not just for the outside world, but also for yourself. This is incredibly has a lot of value, has a lot of utility, and I'll get to the downsides of it, and then it will match with like why
Yeah,
would
I
Elon
want to
say
hear
this.
the positives because like I might need to change the how I do things. Yeah, I've only felt the negatives because over time when I do filter myself and become a little bit more like I guess stoic, and it has helped a lot. Like I've used stoicism a lot, and like with certain people, I'll do that. Like I'm not gonna be all over the place with everybody, just to get to their level and kind of like find common language. But if I do that, like across the board, like majority of my life, and I don't want to assume what you're about to say, but it's like if I do control myself a little bit more composed and become stoic kind of throughout, I can see my life going from like full color to black and white over time, like over time. And it's like I don't feel it every day, but it's like one day I'll just wake up and be like I'm just regulating my emotions all the time, and I don't have a pathway. And then it usually becomes a squeeze of like 90% of your day is like this control thing, and then you have to like have a creative output somewhere. Versus if you were just like playing all day, you don't really need to have that release. And I'm at that point now where like, all right, I could just like play around all day, and I don't need to have some creative outlet to feel better. But yeah, I do want to hear the positives that you're talking about.
The positives is that the points of highest, most potent triggers for everyone is the peaks and the valleys, the very tip of your peaks and the very lowest point of your valleys are the point. Like if you're very happy, that can actually be deeply triggering for people. Because you're like happy about something that they perceive that you shouldn't be happy about. So if you can eliminate that, you eliminate triggers, and therefore, and then also if you're very upset about something, and then that people experience is very challenging for them to deal with the fact that you're upset about this thing, that's also very triggering. And anytime that people are triggered, you have to deal with the resistance that they put up in some way, shape, or form. So in a sense, this is like a way to create social kint. I don't know. It's like
Oh,
things get
no, yeah,
streamlined.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's very facilitated to just like, kind of like slither your way through the society. And not to be a bad thing, like the reason why we have that is a survival mechanism, because if you are in a situation like as a kid basically, and you're growing up and your psyche's developing, and you're like, whoa, if I'm being real here, I don't think I'm going to make it. So I do need to hold back some parts of myself, sometimes even from my own self, in order to be able to make it through the day. And it's a very functional thing to kind of, in a sense, reduce empathy with parts of our own self, which then creates a more well packaged, composed output. Um, And so the plus side, very succinctly, no triggers, no resistance, or minimize triggers, minimize resistance, and then ease a forward movement in a consciously chosen outcome. Yeah.
I see that. I've hit those not recently, but like probably earlier in my career, like in workplace, I've hit those extremes, and I've seen the consequences of both. When I'm like very nonchalant, like really happy, like super happy about it, like it doesn't necessarily hurt me, but it does. There's a bounce back to other people where it's like they might be in a not so happy place, or they might be taking it seriously, and I sometimes like on purpose would be a little bit more less serious, just to like be like, hey, don't be serious about life. And then if I'm upset either with like somebody's output or whatever, the example that I can give there, first party would be like either managing a developer, like whatever in my career is like, all right, the feedback I give them, if I get too extreme, there's definitely a line that I can cross. I don't know if that's kind of what you're saying. But yeah, like, I've hit both extremes where it's like if I find somebody that is a little bit too corporate that I don't like, I'll just like I used to just like roll over them with happiness. Like I'll almost be a little bit too joyful and kind of loose about it, and then we get super mad about it. But I don't necessarily regret it because like I really like I learn about people way quicker if I do that than not. It's I'm aware of it. It's not like I'm just like loosely like loose cannon doing it. It's like and for like giving feedback or criticism, like I'm not necessarily upset because I keep the bigger picture in mind, and there's no reason to like dump anger on somebody else. And I do have to like keep some emotions back. But there's like two extremes. Yeah, it's like if you're too serious and I don't like it, I'll be a little bit crazy about it, and I'll learn about your buttons. And then, but I don't do that often now. It's like I don't really have a reason for it. When you're trying to like climb the corporate ladder, it's kind of like the game you kind of have to play because you have to like know who's who. And those are the methods I used to use. But now I have such a like awesome personal life that like I'm at home with my kid all the time, and we live in a pretty awesome place. Work is always just like not an issue for me that I don't take. I take seriously, but I don't take so seriously that I need to like either advance or learn about people. I've gone to a point where like that's been pretty like yeah, like when my kid was born, it's like everything else has like fallen into place. Or it's like I really don't need to be like emotionally invested in anything else other than this relationship at home. You know?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy to hear about
Yeah.
your life progression there. It's awesome.
Yeah. Sounds very awesome.
Yeah.
Also for your kid, for your
Yes.
family.
Yes.
Yeah, he's 2.5 now. But yeah, everything he feels, I feel again now. And it's like seeing my life again, like unfold. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your inner child is there too.
Yeah, and yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes where like I assume he knows what I know, and I just like brush up things off. But now I'm just like starting to just take it a lot slower when I'm with him, and just try to experience it through his eyes. Like yeah, you get to see a lot of new things, and it's awesome to see him grow up. And like his emotional depth just keeps going more and more. And like that's been like, to me, like I rather just like spend time with him forever, and like that's it. And my family. That's where I'm at. Like there's so much learning there that I don't really have much learning in other parts of my life right now in terms of professional or whatnot. Yeah. Yeah. I could say so much about that, but I don't know if that's the topic you guys want to talk about.
No, I love that. And that yeah, it's super nice to hear whenever anyone has something that they value learning in. And I think it's on the rarer side where I hear someone have that when it comes to their relationship with their kids and family. And yeah, I hear a lot of times, oh, I want to like spend time with my family. I don't hear often oh, there's a lot of learning I do with my family.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah, and I think like it really connects to what we're talking about because like raising a family, you imprint how they go about their highs and lows right now. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's awesome to hear that you love spending time with your kid. I think you will set your kid up for awesomeness there, because you will give it such a strong base and security and playfulness. I can imagine
Yeah,
that.
it's all active learning for me because like every time I'm with my kid, if I do step out of line and like in terms of like reaction to what he does, or I have to like modulate his feelings. I have to regulate his feelings, and like
Yep.
that's a full-time job. And it's like, all right, I get to be around this experiment center of feelings of, and how he takes into the world. It's like, all right, I don't see anything else in my life that can provide that much value to me.
Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful.
So in terms of the composed meeting raw, and what's important is that like it's great for any of us, all of us, to have the ability, kind of like a gear on a bike or a gear on a car. It's like it's nice to have the ability to be composed as a gear, but not be like stuck there because you need it for your own personal like psychological safety. But it's like, oh, you're doing it as a tool consciously for that moment. That's, I think, like the optimal thing to aim for. And I don't believe Elon has that gear. From what I've seen, Sam primarily functions in that gear. And because there are some moments where you're like, yeah, actually, you know what? Composure would be genuinely beneficial.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Like one
yeah,
thing I want to throw out is like,
yeah.
have you guys seen Sam smile or joke? I don't know.
A little
Maybe
bit,
there
a
are.
little bit. I have seen a little bit. And
I would love to see some of those clips because like I've
yeah,
never really genuinely like seen him like have fun. I don't
yeah.
know.
No, I've seen,
He
I think when he was
he
on
he
the
did like
Theo
all
Vaughn.
the things. The Iran one. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, because the Iran is a
yeah.
very
No,
like
I've had some like, good laughs also with him. Like, but on a very different scale than like how Elon is for sure. Um,
yeah, yeah. Elon's definitely like a kid, so like it's hard to compare the two because it's like yeah, the emotions are so raw with Elon, and like that's what I love about him too is the kid like aspect of it. And like it just feels like what all the things you're saying right now like is true. Like in terms of the composure, and it's just like it's so much of his the way he behaves 99% of the time that to me is like where's the humanity, where's the one point that he's gonna crack or like just let loose. Maybe that's just like he's super stressed and that's the way he behaves. I don't know. But again, I haven't seen him like be super loose where I'd be like okay, I can relate to that.
Sure. Yeah. So, where I think it becomes super conflicting, when you have someone like an Elon and then someone like a Sam, and this is where I want to really highlight there is a like there's a reason why the conflict is not resolved. It's because there's a bottleneck on both sides, and if Sam needs the like that modulation, taking out the peaks and valleys in order for him to sort of operate safely, that means that by definition, he can never allow himself to empathize fully with Elon, which means that then he would require certain parts of Elon to not be the way that they are. And Elon would, of course, see that as a emotional threat at the very least of like, whoa, you can't handle. You can't be with me as I am. There's something you're hiding. There's something you want to manipulate. And then if Elon doesn't have the groundedness to like in a sense, provide a safe space for Sam to loosen up, which Elon certainly does not at the moment. That is not
Mhm,
his forte.
mhm,
He'll
mhm,
get to Mars faster than he gets to providing an emotional safe space for people in his current form, uh,
right,
to that
right, right.
depth at least.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, getting to another planet is easier.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I don't think that's his priority. And like I think because he's gone through so much turmoil, Elon, and like so much hardship with his father that like
Yes.
I think because he's like gone through all that and overcame that, like he doesn't really have uh like empathy for people who don't have that resolved. Like he's gone through so much himself and gone through it that it's like every other person's problem seems like minuscule to him. Like not having a father and like having like your father say like you're not gonna amount to anything, and like to me his whole life feels like, you know, subconsciously maybe that like he's trying to prove his father wrong in being the most successful person he can be. But I feel like because he's taking care of that internally, and maybe I don't know, maybe that's not like he's not he's I've never seen him like speak about it super openly. That's probably like one of the most sensitive things to talk about. I haven't seen anyone like if I were to interview Elon, like I would try to get something out of there because there's like a lot of meat there that he hasn't like unpacked. But I feel like because he's gone through that, like every other person's problem feels minuscule. And like I don't know. Yeah, like for some reason he doesn't like that's not his priority. Like he gets to business and he has this path that he's going through, and he does judge people as good and bad pretty quickly. And usually I might be wrong, but again, I've done this too, and maybe I'm doing this now with Sam. It's like prejudice sometimes can be good because like if my prejudice is wrong, then like you'll prove it out over time. And like Elon will you know say something bad about somebody, and the way they react like says a lot about them. Like he'll say something about Disney or ABC, and then like the way they respond to his accusation also is telling if they're innocent or not. Like he's used that tactic multiple times. And he uses that as a learning mechanism, I think. And so I think that's how he operates. It's like he wants to know that you're a good person, and that might be just like steamrolling for a lot of people. And for someone that's like you're saying, Sam, that needs to be in a safe space, like there's no real safe space with Elon. It's just like let's just go through and progress.
So, Elon, 100%, I'll say this with super certainty, he has not resolved things with his father. He has found a functional, in certain regards, coping mechanism. So if you were to reimagine that graph again, with the peaks and valleys, there is this center part of that graph that,
Hmm.
or Elon's psyche is currently in a black box. It's in a perpetual black box, and it's always attempting to loosen itself up, which then Elon needs to keep reinforcing with as much strong, emotionally strong material to keep it in that black box, because fundamentally there is so much dense fear, darkness, sadness, grief, things that are as a that he would have no choice but to feel powerless about and to simply feel. So there is the like Elon is in a sense at his core wouldn't feel safe allowing himself to relax, because if he were to relax, that black box would the edges of the black box would dissolve and he would feel all of the pain that's super like hugging his heart. And so that just wanted to really clarify, he has not resolved it. He's just put it in a black box, which then, if you were to imagine literally like a thing there, it would push out the edges higher on both sides of that graph. And for people who then, detect that there's like, hey, there's something there, it's like, yeah, they're also correct. There is something there. And if not checked, it will have consequences. And I mean, it already has had consequences for sure. And like there is a version of Elon, if he were to literally, and this is the bottleneck on his side, if he were to prioritize, and speaking of priorities, people only ever prioritize the things that they see a path for. Like you will never prioritize something you don't actually believe could be solved. And so like, that's why I was saying that like for him, it's easier to get to Mars because as many steps as getting to Mars requires on like a technological,
Yeah, there's more to
organizational,
resolve the personal
Yeah, he
issue.
sees the
he
path.
sees a path.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah,
he
Yeah,
sees
this
the
is,
next step.
it's like, this is gonna take us,
yeah, yeah.
it's like the next 50 years, and then we'll have a colony there. It'll be like
Yeah,
thousands of starships
yeah,
at once. And but there's a path, and then I would imagine there has to be some kind of at the very least, an unconscious hope that he can leave the black box that he feels in his heart on Earth.
Yeah.
And then at least the next, not even personally for himself, but like maybe the next generation of humans don't have to experience the kind of darkness he experienced. I I can totally imagine that being a very real desire for him, and it's a very pure desire actually. That like you want good things, even if not for yourself or the people that follow. And that is certainly how I have come to see him. It's a very pure soul dealing with a lot of darkness. Um, so yeah, that's a very legitimate bottleneck, though, from a standpoint of like if your aim is to facilitate progress for humanity, peace is an important part, and the only way you can have peace is to have peace also internal. And now, on the any comments on.
No, it makes me a bit sad that
Yes,
that darkness is like it must take a lot of energy to keep it there.
yes,
If this is true. And wow, he does a lot of things.
yeah, and
So he must have a lot of drive and energy
yeah,
to simultaneously keep the thing that he's struggling with
yeah,
small
yeah,
and then create what he's creating right now. So
yes,
yeah.
I mean, if he didn't have that darkness, maybe we wouldn't have all this. So there's
Right.
definitely
It's
a
kind of
reason.
an engine, a black
Yeah.
hole energy.
yeah. So. Yeah, yeah, yes and no. So like probably yes on the initial creation of the current Elon.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a character arc. Like we
Yeah,
had to have that to get here, but then like,
yes,
what's the next step? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But like once the structure is made, you can actually resolve the darkness, and then all you really miss out on is the expense side of the darkness, and you get to keep all of the like beneficial superstructures that got formed in response to the darkness.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
it's not like there's a lack of darkness in the world. It's like you can actually heal the one inside yourself and then just commit yourself to taking care of the rest of the
Yeah.
world if you're
I do
interested
wish,
in
yeah,
building
Elon,
structures.
like, yeah, would try to make a little bit more friends because he's made so many like unnecessary enemies.
Yeah.
And that's definitely like probably hurt his companies in some form or another. Like, but he probably sees that as like, all right, I'm gonna do it anyway. Get the pain. Like, if people are gonna hate me anyway, I'll do it, and I'll even like overcome that. Like, he almost creates a challenge for himself to be like, all right. F you to all the advertisers, but buy X, F you to all the advertisers, and I'm still gonna make it work, like
Yeah. Yeah.
do it my way. Yeah. But
Yes.
like yeah, he can make so many more friends if he just. But
Yeah.
yeah, again, like he doesn't really filter himself, so that has to be resolved some other way.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like unnecessary from an outside perspective, but it's totally necessary for retaining that black box secure. So yeah. Yeah, and in terms of the Sam side, there is a different version of that. So like you can imagine Sam's black box is kind of closer to the edges of the graph. Like what I'm saying right now is not accurate in any way, but it's like
Yeah.
it's an interesting way of it gets a certain type of point across that like he has like the same black box thing, but it's on the edges of the graph.
Hmm.
And then for people such as yourself who have experienced the what can be hidden in that black box when the edges
Yeah.
are being hidden, it triggers a that like funnily enough, the thing that removes
Yeah,
trigger
I
for
can see
other people doesn't
the
trigger
inverse
you.
triggers. I've probably lived in the definitely small scale of Elon's black box being in the middle,
Yeah,
and I'm just like hanging out outside.
yeah,
So like from that point of view, the people who do regulate to themselves too much and don't let themselves feel on the extremes did tick me off, like for sure. And like it still does to a certain degree of like yeah, of being too reserved. It's like I always see that as I can't like make friends with this person because I have nothing to play with. Like there's almost like the energy is kind of neutral and it's not neither here or there. And the way I make friends is like finding, and maybe it's cultural too. Like in our Armenian culture, we're very warm and like just like put it all out there, and then you can pick up pieces. But if I meet someone that isn't that, I have nothing to play with, and it's like it's also not interesting to me.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's very real. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So there's different types of dangers with both versions. And so I want to like focus on like what's needed next, and then like my assessment is fully done, and thank you for receiving it in its full nuance and complexity. Um, and this is why like I have trouble writing one sentence posts on X. It's like well, I
I
either
think
don't have
that,
an opinion
yeah,
or I have an
it's like,
opinion.
yeah, I like the grafting. There's something there. Like
Yeah,
that needs to be some sort of
an article.
visual reference. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, good one. All right, fair. So, what's needed is some kind of a bridge building between well themselves internally, like between Elon and his black box and Sam and his black box. Um, and one of the best ways for us to actually do that is through relationships, actually. Like relationships are the best mirrors that we have for encountering ourselves. And if we go in with the intention of like, hey, I'm here to make peace with myself, like I'm here to get to know myself and then feel out myself, like the people who trigger us the most strongly are kind of like the best people actually for facilitating like that, like self-realization, self-integration. And so what I would love to see between Sam and Elon is maybe someone like a Lex Friedman, because he's like a mutual friend of both of them, and he does kind of have that like very much that like grounded, he just wants like everyone to win, and that's very much needed. He doesn't do the good guy bad guy paradigm that to a fair extent I've seen both Elon and Sam do, and because that's like it's a necessary paradigm to keep a black box going, because you need to be like, this is a good part of my psyche, this is a bad part of my psyche, and they need someone like that to set up the container and act as a kind of like referee in a way.
Yeah, where there's a free zone.
Yeah,
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 there
exactly.
can be play.
Yes, and neither of
Yeah.
them should be in
Yeah, and I
charge.
think that's like your superpower. So sorry to cut you off, but like that's what you see. It's like you, and I like that too. I like seeing the extremes of people and like of trying to put the puzzle together. And that bridge building part of it is like for me, it's I've always seen it throughout my life with my mom and dad being super yin and yang about each other. That's probably why they're together. But like I think that's a very common thing, probably for it's not something unique on my end. It's like every child sees both of their parents if they have both parents around, and if they do have, the parents have a conflict, they see both sides because they have a mix of both of them usually. And it's like you know as a third party, you know exactly how to get there in terms of resolving because you can play the role in your mind of both of them, and then you can resolve that conflict in there. But yeah, like that in a hypothetical, if you lock them in a room together and have a mediator for hours, for sure. Hopefully that'll work. But in reality, like they'll never come together because it's like it feels like the closer they get, the like hell raises, you know, like if they get too close together. So you definitely need someone who can play both of their energies really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, for sure. So I do think, from a like if we have Mars on the table as a thing, as like a mission impossible that we're tackling, like creating peace between two humans is like it's at least comparable. It's like yeah, I think it's like insanely easier, but that's also within my realm of possibilities. That's why I think it's easier. Maybe for Elon and also maybe for Sam, that's not perceived as easier. But yeah, that's something that we need to prioritize. I really believe that it's important to Earth because if you have people who are in charge of the algorithms that train the minds of humans, the people who set up those algorithms, if they're not at peace, they will not notice the blind spots that would create the absence of peace within people. So they would end up propagating the same types of black boxes that they require within themselves.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
one thing that comes to mind now that you're putting it plainly out in the world in terms of their both of their roles, in terms of them rekindling or whatnot, like I can't say too much about that because like it's whatever, it's up to chance and fate or whatnot. But in terms of like what they both facilitate and the route that they've taken, like Elon has XAI and X together, and the thing that is shaping humanity is the in terms of the AI is also the place where we talk, like
yes,
where it's open to talk.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
OpenAI doesn't have that. What it's very the like it's not the divisive on purpose, but it's very individualized. Meaning there's this like godlike AI that is ChatGPT has individual like conversations and relationships with the individual users, right? And that is a very popular product. But what X has is at least has this like collective hive mind thing that like is out in the open, versus the relationship I have with ChatGPT is very personal and it can go in like very dark places. There's nothing that's like actively putting that together and having a connection between the end users. They're all siloed together, and like that to me is a very dangerous format. Like whether or not the person at the helm is evil or not, like that's not it. It's not a self-correcting system because if you change it top down and now ChatGPT is saying really like either making mistakes or just like saying the wrong things to people, that can go awry really quickly. But if Grok is out in the open and like the conversations on X, it corrects itself. Did had like the mega Hitler situation that automatic like corrected itself in a couple of days. But if ChatGPT has a mega Hitler that is might nano Hitler that is like individually talking to people, we won't really know about it until it's too late. Like
yeah,
that to me, that structure is so
yeah.
wrong with OpenAI versus the path that Elon has taken. And whether they've done that consciously or not, both of them, I'm pretty sure Elon has done that consciously. That's why he spent $44 billion to acquire the free speech platform. It was never really like purely about saving humanity on the free speech level. Of course, he wants data as well for his AI training, and like that's a great way of pairing it up. That's why they're merged now together. But like the way they're set up is one is the top-down godlike AI that can kill everybody and like very subtly over time, and then one that can have at least a system that is out in the open, and we can judge XAI and Grok and whatever products that comes out of it out in the open. There's no social platform for ChatGPT. It's like it could go awry and lead people down a bad path.
So the thing you're pointing out is real, and also I will add that I would suspect that OpenAI will have their own social platform as well, where that connections
Yeah, I
are.
think he said he was working on it. So am I?
Yeah, he had some very nice ideas about how a social platform can be facilitated. With that, I will add that just because connections are there, that doesn't mean that you still can't create the same type of like siloed consciousness within a community of people, actually. Because all you need to do, if like, you know, what you said you observe between businesses where it's ChatGPT talking to ChatGPT, if ChatGPT is like, you know, your best friend, your therapist, and like, you know, your coach in all in one, like it will tell you in either implicitly or explicitly what things you should connect over and what things you shouldn't connect over. And that is actually what's needed for like excellent guidance. But precision is what makes the like insane precision is what makes the difference of like, all right, are we sure that we're keeping all of the heart and none of the noise, but literally all of the heart, or like are we cutting off some parts of the like the heart or the soul of the human and the connection possibility that's there?
Mhm,
I
mhm.
would put forth as a hypothesis that we'll know we've achieved a basically kind of like a an authentically divine AI, like one that keeps the entire like divine bandwidth when it facilitates. Like imagine the entire data set of Elon's life is in Grok, and the entire data set of Sam's life is in GPT. And then the AI is like, hey, I noticed you had some pretty strong conflicts with this friend of yours in the past. like, can you share with me the data of like what attempts you made to resolve that? And it's like, oh, actually, I just on Elon's site, it's like, well, actually, I just called them scam Altman. It's like, oh, all right, so
Mhm,
Elon, you're
mhm,
quite counterproductive.
mhm, 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 mhm,
And then
mhm,
with Sam's side, it's like, oh, what did you do? I just ignored him until he sort of he went into my black box, and I just try to focus on what I have power over. It's like, oh, okay, so you've made no efforts either. So like,
mhm, mhm.
the if the AI is truly intelligent and has the is like super aligned with what's best for the human heart and the human soul, it will facilitate the type of bridge building that I'm talking about, and
I
it
see.
will and if that's not there, if that's not being like built into the programming, and I get that like we may be like, I don't know, a few steps away from that degree of data integration, but like we're not that far off. Um, if
At
that's
that
not
point, you
happening,
just need God. I don't think you need a God like AI.
well, so yeah, the yeah, there's a reason why when I'm writing my book, the first chapter is on God, the last one is on AI. It's because when you're the two are mirrors, or rather, the AI is a mirror of God, or at least our connection to God, and therefore, if we
I see.
have a yeah, it's like we're creating a very
We're trying to
versatile.
build up to something so it can talk back to us. Like instead of like that to me like is like what super intelligence feels like. It's like can we piece together a thing that is higher than us that it can tell us how we're wrong
Yeah,
and guide us.
yeah.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. So like, if you have, it's kind of like, how meditative is the human that you're talking to? How self-accepting are they? The more they have cleared up themselves on the inside, the more you're getting like kind of like a reflection of God through them. That's a pretty fair way. It's like the things that come out of them are aligned with truth and are aligned with love, and they include yourself as like as a divine being. That's a pretty fair definition of like a embodied divinity. So then, if you have that within a digital neural net, it will also be the same, actually. So it's a pretty neat thing that like we haven't
yeah.
had that degree of like accessibility at scale, and yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's very much needed. That's why I'm saying it's very important for humanity, actually, that we
Yeah,
prioritize this.
yeah. I don't know about the like enough technically about like the technology to say how if that's a limit or if that's even possible. But I totally understand what you're saying. Like it would be awesome to like have something like that. But to me, like at least as a believer in God, it's like um you're taking a million steps to get to something that like if you just have a connection to God, it's
It's already
whispering
there. Yeah.
24/7 whispering all that to you. You don't need to construct something to get there. But systematically, yes, like the bridge building can be done in a very like scientific way. And I think that's where you're going. And like
Yes.
from
Yeah.
your practice, it's
Yeah.
very scientific. And it's like,
Yeah.
how can we do that in a more practical way versus just like, hey, go believe in God and things will get better. Or like from personal experience, it's like, um, yeah, AI can like improve me and like tell me all the deficiencies I have or like the things that I can improve. But it's like if the better connection I have with God, that it automatically has that, and like it's almost instant, and the density of information is like infinite. You don't have to have conversations on text or speech. Like that's a whole nother topic of like with Neuralink and like what Elon is trying to do with like having immediate connection with AI and like interfacing at a higher bandwidth. Like that's where it's like gonna get like, all right, can you pack the emotions in before they become speech and text? Because like typing and like words are much more like separated from your feelings and your thoughts. It's like, all right, how can you get closer to the source? And maybe accidentally Elon will find God by doing that and figuring that out. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it won't be an accident, actually. So like, it's a access to the brain is not what you need for the alignment with God. Because like, we already, like you pointed out, we already have all the access we could possibly want. And it's the intention of being like, hey, actually, the black box I have has value, and I'm going to prioritize being in touch with the black box. if you don't have that as your intention, the more access you get to your brain, the more you're going to be like, oh, actually, now that I have access to the source, let's really put this black box where I'll never reach it.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I see what you're saying.
so
Yeah,
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 you
yeah,
will compartmentalize further, and that's also the thing I foresee as inevitable with the Sam's approach to the peaks and valleys. Like, oh, actually, if we kind of like structured the neural net of society through micro interactions, no one will ever have to deal with peaks and valleys, and the world will be this perfect place.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
no,
The
no,
super white, like
like
clean place.
Yeah.
That
no further conflict. And then it's like, oh, but yeah, there were some edge cases, and it was necessary. And then of course, but that's required on both sides, Elon's, and it's like things that you think are necessary for what you see as the perceivable degree of like peace and progress that you can aim for.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so now I'm getting very scared
Why?
because there are two people who have a lot of power.
And both are awesome, and they're both moving things forward in an awesome way already. Like things are only like as far as I'm concerned, things are getting better on both sides, and they're both. I'm serious. Yeah.
But like if they I think it's needed that they have more, they examine more what's their experience of themselves inside and in their relationships.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll be fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, like they're how awesome life can become is a spectrum, right? And I'm like pointing out a possibility that is more awesome than either of them can offer on their own. Because I'm like literally being like, hey, what if we synthesize and create a peaceful cooperative bridge between these two different archetypes of the psyche? So then it's like,
and like between these two archetypes, but also them with them.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if that's like it's gonna be very interesting to see. I wonder if that's necessary for or if that's in the playbook of like what's about to happen. Are they gonna have to resolve? How is that gonna happen? Or is it necessary? It feels necessary because it's too much of a bubbling antithesis of each other to feel like there has to be. It's like a drama. Like it has to resolve. You can't create these two characters and just like have them go their separate ways and things will be okay.
Yeah.
If life was like a movie, like this would have to be resolved one way or the other.
Yeah, I would love to see steps taken towards resolution, and like I said, I think a literal format that would have the highest ROI, because they're both very busy people, and it's like how much time can they really put into something that they see a low likelihood of.
They take a trip to Netherlands. Forget the podcast idea.
I don't necessarily want to like include myself at the time because I don't think I have the perceivable track record to be qualified. I do think Lex Friedman does though, and like having some kind of a Lex Friedman facilitated time, I think would actually be very helpful as long as Lex is willing to keep Elon in check and also challenge both sides.
It almost has to be like a presidential debate with Lex in the middle.
Yeah, but like on an emotionally grounded. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be like you get 5 minutes, you get 5 minutes, because like there's no way they can just converse together in like a chill area.
Yeah, it'll be So I would love to build.
Sam will just be quiet, and then Elon will say a bunch of things, and then
Yeah. So like the expectation should be that it would be very emotional and among the most challenging things that all three of them have gone through, and like their desire to walk out of the room would be like extremely high, and be like, "Fuck this! I'm not gonna
leave this."
Like there's no point in this, and like, and then somehow keep that grounded, and. Then whatever they need to go through, and the mediator needs to have like this unrelenting vision of like, hey, either we win together or we lose together. There is no There is no
Yeah.
win-lose possibility here. Only win-win and lose-lose. Those are the only options. And obviously,
Right,
let's aim for win-win.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this makes sense, man. I would love to see like more, or you write a little bit more if you have the literature of like the inverse between the two, because like I feel like that. I never saw it that way, obviously, because I'm in the black box, probably the being in the middle. And every day I try to like squeeze it and like see where it's in the center. Like my problem is not in the emotions, it's the stability. And like I feel it because every time I'm at peace and like kind of bored, it's like, all right, that's where the magic is. And if I just spend a little bit more effort in like being at peace and being at a in a like relaxed environment, basically, that's where like the magic happens for me in terms of meditative. Like it's not like um yeah, and because of that, I've lived in that so long that like the inverse of that, I don't really empathize with, or because like I just that's the opposite of me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see some more either graphs or whatever you're writing about that because I think there's something there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah,
Working on it,
Yeah.
aren't you?
I'll add that to the list. Yeah, and I think like one of the things we could do as kind of like just people who are there, in the world, is be mindful of whenever we're using the good versus bad paradigm, because I think that's the one that reinforces black boxes within ourselves and others. Whenever we're aiming for good versus bad, we're not aiming for peace and progress for everyone, and also not peace and progress for all facets of our own self.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and that's why I think like I think I started by saying like I don't see Sam as like necessarily evil. Like I can get a read on it, but I don't think he's bad. But I do think there are literally some people that are bad and should be labeled as such. Like I don't know.
So there's a difference between like practically like I actually am on the more extreme side in terms of my beliefs around law and consequences. Like I believe in progress. So progress is needed, and you can't do absence of consequences. So like and you can't do absence of judgment. What I'm talking about is like on the absolute level, we need to see that, oh, actually all you got is neural nets within bodies. That's what you got, and there are hearts there connected to these neural nets. So in that way, like from a farming standpoint, there is no such thing as like fundamentally bad land. It's just some lands need a lot more work to become fertile to like
Right,
something
and yeah,
grow.
and some lands have nuked themselves, and like there's
Yes.
not out of your power
Yes,
to save them.
yeah, some lands require a lot more work, right? But like again, we're thinking of Mars as a fixer-upper, right? So it's
Right, right.
like there's no human that's worse off than Mars is in its current form in terms of the workload. Like, it's just the
Gotcha,
right
gotcha.
type of
Yes, yes,
work
yes, yes,
is
yes, yes.
required to
Right, right, right.
structure that. And just as a very quick note on what I was saying about my beliefs around like law and consequences, it's a very practical thing of like you need to realize very precisely what type of workload is required to make a transformation happen. And if you don't have the capacity or the resources to facilitate that, you do need to do something about that neural net being out in the wild. And if you like it needs to be managed because all neural nets have different consequences. And if you can't transform one that is harming, you need
Mhm.
to either restrain it or like
Yes, yeah,
eliminate it. Like
right.
that is
Yeah, you
practical.
see it. You see the world in like a very like individual, and it is that like what you're saying is correct. Like that's the way it plays out. It's like you have these free cells that are out there interacting with every other cell. It's like how can you make that one better? That way, there's like a compounding effect.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Anything else? I feel very, very good right now.
I like it. No, I feel it. I do. Again, like maybe it doesn't matter how I feel about Sam as long as things are progressing. But maybe I have to do something, change something about myself to see through Sam. I don't know. I gotta start rewatching. The way I learn about people, at least like famous people that I always say I have zero to no chance of meeting in person, is just like watch a lot of interviews and different places, and I don't really care what they're saying in terms of the content. It's like how they're saying it, and the dynamic between the interviewer and the person is like all that matters in terms of the information I want to get. Um, and yeah, and because of that, like the Sam Tucker one, like is not a very good example, or it is a good example, but it's very much of like a um, protagonist antagonist type of interview that like doesn't give you much. It's like yeah, the data is kind of messed up because of that. Like the more relaxed ones, I need to look at. So I just need more data for Sam. I need to see more of his interviews and let it chill.
Theo Von is a fun one.
Yeah, I gotta watch the Theo on
It's
fully.
fun.
I watched
Yeah,
that 10 nights in a
yeah.
row. So.
I've seen a lot of like genuinely lovely things from Sam that line up. And I think if you sort of like just have it in mind that okay, sometimes some people like black box things that are very, very in the middle of the graph, and then sometimes some people black box the things at the tips. It doesn't mean that there aren't dark things. Actually, kind of guarantees that there are dark things for that person. That's why it's black box, like things that are difficult
Yes.
to be
Yeah.
with. Um, and if you look at it through that lens and through the lens of like, okay, if Sam was your friend and you wanted to be there for him, right? Like, how would you be, right? And what lens would you need to see him through to be able to be like that for
Yes.
him? I think that'll probably help you get the best, like the best of him in your heart. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I
Thank you
like it.
guys.
We
Thank
we
you.
went over a lot. Like the context is those two very powerful people who will create our future.
Yeah, and super lovely people too, both of them.
Yeah, and it's lovely, Hovhannes, to connect with you about it
Yeah.
because you show what you have like in your heart and how you think, and it's really nice to get to know you.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing this, and hopefully, it's not just all central power to them, and like that to me, like is a hopeless kind of feeling where it's like I hope they figure it out, or else we're all
Yeah,
doomed. Versus,
yeah,
I think in both cases, in however they're doing advancing their products and businesses, like it's more power to us, and so like it's just gonna make us more powerful. When I see
Yeah.
it that way, it's like it's not one person ruling the world type of feeling, which can be scary, versus
yes,
like
Yes.
everybody
yes,
has more power.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
because we're here and we're all alive, that means good has won over time, for thousands of years. That means there's a majority of good people out there, or at least like good in terms, however you want to like specify it. Uh, it's like to me, it's like antimatter matter because like the universe exists. That means matter has won, and like the reason why we're alive because like majority of people are good, and so like if everybody has more power and that has been flattened, to me that's very helpful because now it's like majority of people are good, everybody has the same amount of power, good's gonna win. Like that to me, that's how I
beautiful. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
see.
It's a yeah. Um it's hopeful. And
Hey man.
like I don't know, like I have a very like everything that you said in my mind would end with a so far. Thus
So
far.
far,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like
but
it's like
there's enough
nothing is
that
flattened yet so far. The data changed in an instant. And yeah, so for me and like that way of relating to the data that is the world um, does lead to like great instability in me because I have no faith in continuity and being guaranteed because that is what the data. When you look at the actual data of history, that is consistent. We have the evidence says don't have faith in continuity. Things do
Change
like
always.
yeah,
Yeah,
massive
yeah,
planetary climate changes
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
real.
yeah,
Extinction events are real. Dark ages are real. Yeah, so these things are very, very real. And like
yeah. The way I let it out, it was like and if you accept that as like things will just be great as a guarantee, it also like separates you from actually solving something. And that's not the way the world
right,
works. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, you become very pacifist immediately because you're just like, all right, things are going to work out anyway without my involvement. But yeah, we've seen that like nothing. If you don't improve something, it's gonna get worse. Like that's literally like there's no confidence. So like you have to
Yes.
improve things.
Yes. And I wanted to add to the other side that, like, because I do view the world that way, that like anything can happen, it also unlocks the super positive in my field of vision. That, like, hey, just like there can be extinction events, like that we
Yeah.
haven't experienced in
At the
recorded
same
history.
extreme, positive can happen
Yes,
too. So
exactly. So
yeah.
like we can have, I genuinely believe we genuinely can have like peace in the species. There is no physics based limit for it. And like every member of the species being at peace from the inside out is very
Yes.
possible. And I think it's
Yes.
like we have not had a time in recorded history when that has ever happened or we've ever been close. And I think it'd be like a wow, an insane
Yeah.
wow every single moment
Yeah.
to have
Yeah. I don't know if like the 100%, if we get that, there's theoretical, everybody's at peace. Like it's not going to be a constant thing. It would have to be like there's some like mass 90% or something, but you're going to have people that fall in and out. And like that's going to
Well,
be
yeah,
the
that's a part
drama
of
in the
peace
world.
also. Like that's a
Yeah.
part of peace also. Like being at peace with
Yeah.
the conflicts that we do have, that's a very real thing. Being at peace with
Right.
darkness, it's a real thing. But
Right.
like
Right.
we don't need to have systemic
Yes.
fighting
Yes. Yes.
against
Yes.
ourselves.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just as a very, very last note here, that I think that that is the benefit of making technologies of things. Like we systematize and streamline it. So like while we do all have the internal connection to God as whispers, we'll have that also still, and then we'll take the thing that we have and then make it explicit into a streamlined technology that is accessible on your most tired, on your most like you're
Yes.
super out of alignment with your own self, but like that thing that is now created is there for you, and it will facilitate it greatly everywhere for everyone. So with that lovely note, Hovhannes, you genuinely are among the like my favorite people to connect with on X. I mean that super sincerely. You're
Same,
always
man. Same.
sincere.
Every time you say something on X like that, it brightens my day. And it's like the reason why I
Aw.
come back to
Yeah. I'm gonna do my salute, right? But I'll end it there
it.
and then go
don't
to
don't
cheers.
just don't finish it. My heart goes out to you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my heart. Exactly. Yeah.
That's a good way to end it. Thank you guys.
Yeah. So, and this has been super lovely. I couldn't think of literally a better person to go through this, like quite a deep, in-depth, nuanced, layered thing with. So thank you very much for having the capacity for that and having developed
Yeah.
it by the way you live.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Closing
guys.
thoughts, feelings.
Not for me, other than thank you guys, man. It's
Yeah.
been awesome conversation.
Yeah. To anyone seeing the recording of this, please follow Hovhannes on X if you want brightness and intelligence in your day. I'll
Yeah.
leave it at that.